Hey everybody, welcome back to the Captain's Coffee. My name's David, and today we're going to be talking about the extension tube from Fresh Roast for the SR800, and they also make one for the SR540. First we're going to talk about the installation, how you get it loaded up in your roasting chamber correctly. Then we're going to talk about what you can expect on your first few roasts while using it. And finally we'll do a full roast, show you from beginning to end what it looks like to roast with the extension tube. I highly recommend, if you haven't already, check out our SR800 Beginner's Guide. There'll be a link in the description below. It'll give you a lot of background about what we're going to talk about today. Also a point of comparison between roasting with and without the extension tube. Help you decide if it's right for you. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Alright, first things first, we need to assemble our extension tube. When you receive it, it'll come with the tube itself, along with a double lip ring seal, and then 3 small gaskets. First thing you're going to want to do is flip your tube over so the skinny side is up. We're going to take our big double lip ring seal, and you'll notice one side has an opening all the way around, the other one is flat all the way around. We're going to flip it so that the open side is facing to the end of the skinny end of the extension tube, and the flat end is down towards the wide end of the tube. And you're just going to slide it over. It should be nice and snug. Run it down till you're about to where the glass begins to flare out into the wider portion. And just make sure nice and even all the way around as much as possible. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. You just want it to be close. It'll kind of work itself out when you get it put on the chamber. Next, we're going to put each of these 3 gaskets on the very end of the skinny end of the tube. So just stretch them over one at a time. And once you get them on, be sure that they're nice and flush on the end of the glass tube, like so. That's 1. 2. And 3. So now I'm just cleaning up the end, making sure all 3 gaskets are nice and flush. And so we get a nice seal in the bottom of the roasting chamber, just like that. Next, installing it in your roaster. Grab your roasting chamber, place skinny end down, and you'll notice that this double lip ring gasket goes right over the lip top of your roasting chamber. You might have to maneuver it a little bit to get a good seal. There you go. This is what it looks like when it's all done. Best part about this is if you want to uninstall it, it's really simple. Just pull it out and do the reverse, and you save it for another day. So the first thing you'll notice when roasting with the extension tube is how much better the air circulation is in your roasting chamber. Since the extension tube increases the effective size of your roasting chamber, there'll be much more room for movement of the bean mass. The tube also drastically changes the shape of the roasting chamber, focusing the air straight into the bean mass by sealing the chamber directly over the fan output of the roaster. These two things combined mean that we need significantly less power and fan speed to agitate the beans, allowing more headroom for adjustment. For example, without the tube, we have to start our roasts with the fan speed maxed out to get the beans moving right away to prevent scorching. With the tube, we can start with much lower fan speed and already see significant movement. That means that with the tube, we now have more freedom for headroom for adjustments, which means more experimentation with roasting profiles. Want to see how your coffee flavor changes if you add more heat at the beginning of the roast? Now you can, without worry of scorching your beans. Another benefit of the extension tube is that it creates a double-walled roasting chamber. If you know anything about insulation, you'll know that creating a double-walled container keeps its contents better sealed against the outside environment, just like in a travel mug. This, combined with our additional headroom for increasing the heat in fan settings, means we can roast with much cooler ambient temperatures. If you're tired of roasting inside on cold days, get yourself an extension tube and take it outside. Now your family won't be upset with you for taking up kitchen counter space while you spend the afternoon experimenting with profiles, crafting the perfect roast for your favorite coffee. Oh, and no more accidentally setting off that pesky smoke alarm. Okay, so our final takeaway from the fresh roast extension tube is going to be a little bit controversial, so let's start with a disclaimer. Due to an increased risk of fire from overloading the chaff collector, the manufacturer of the extension tube and the captain's coffee advise extreme caution when exceeding the intended capacity for your roaster, which would be 8 ounces for the SR800 and around 4 1/4 ounces for the SR540. Now that that's out of the way, I'll say that the increased size and shape of the extension tube does provide the option to increase your batch sizes, should you be willing to accept the risk for doing so. Here at the warehouse, we experimented with batch sizes on our SR800 up to and including 10 ounces or 285 grams with no issues when using coffees with a low to medium chaff content. We highly advise you to avoid batch sizes over 10 ounces on the SR800. If you're going to increase your batch size, do so in small increments of half an ounce at a time until you reach a size you're comfortable with. Be absolutely certain to clean out your chaff collector carefully in between batches to prevent overloading it. The increased chaff from larger batches is the main issue, and at some point you'll get diminishing returns as the additional chaff blocks airflow out of the roasting chamber, which is absolutely essential to a good roast. This potential blockage is also what makes chaff fires more likely, as the buildup of extremely hot air with nowhere to go can concentrate in the chaff and cause it to ignite. Furthermore, carefully monitor your fan speed, as increased bean movement can cause beans to jump all the way up to the chaff collector and get stuck, increasing the airflow blockage and the possibility of a fire. Remember that some coffees produce more chaff than others. Check roasts at normal batch levels for excessive chaff before you consider increasing your batch size. Maybe one day the manufacturer will release a chaff collector larger, which would really allow the extension tube to shine. Alright, so we're ready to go. We've got the extension tube on, loaded onto our roaster. We've got 225 grams of coffee here. It's the same coffee we used in the last video, so you can compare with and without the extension tube. This is the washed Nicaragua Finca El Pastoral Organic. Let's load it up and go. Always make sure your chaff collector is nice and empty. So first things first, make sure you're using a kitchen timer or a timer on your phone. Really important when it comes to roasting to keep track of that. You'll notice right away that I started with a fan speed of 7 and power setting of 2, which is significantly lower than I would with the stock roasting chamber. That's just because the extension tube is so much more efficient at moving air within the roasting chamber that we've got a lot more headroom, like I mentioned before, to start with lower settings, so you can adjust things upward more now or down. I'm still going to keep the power down low to start, just till I see how this heat and the efficient movement is going to affect the heat within the chamber. Alright, we're coming up on a minute now, and I've got lots of bean movement, and I think it's time to pull down our fan setting a little bit and calm those beans down, even though we do have tons of heat going into the roast chamber. I may find that I need to pull back the power setting a little more here soon. Let's see how it affects the temperature into the roast chamber. Alright, it's getting pretty hot in there. It's already at 370 and climbing. I feel like we need to pull back our power a little bit. We've got a bit too much heat, and I don't want these beans to dry out too quickly. I want to keep them thoroughly and nice, even dried. So we're pulling all the way back down to 1. Let's see what happens. Much happier. We managed to normalize the heat at the low 370s, mid 370s, and that's much more what I want to see. So once again, our heat is ramping up a little faster than I'm comfortable with. I don't want to rush through the drying phase too quickly, so I'm gonna actually increase the fan again to help normalize the heat, slow things down. Remember, our drying phase will end when our bean temperature is around 300 to 330 degrees, so I don't want to get too far ahead of that. That's been one of my major takeaways using the extension tube, is just how much more efficient it is at transferring the heat to the beans. You really have to keep them moving sometimes, but thankfully you got lots of space in the extension tube to let them jump up higher. So we're finally starting to see that nice pale brown, dark yellow color, which means our beans are coming out of drying phase and beginning to enter into the Maillard phase. So it's time to go ahead and add a little more heat into the system. So I'm going to do that by turning the fan down, because our beans are really moving in there. I'd rather turn the fan down than increase the power in order to get our extra heat. And it looks like that plan is working. We're already cranking up fast on the heat. We're moving that heat up in anticipation of upcoming first crack, which usually occurs around 380 degrees bean temp, so we want to stay just ahead of that on air temp. So I've been trying to stretch out this Maillard or caramelization phase of the beans in order to bring out as much sweetness as I can in anticipation of the development phase. I've been doing that by keeping the temperature closer to what I expect first crack will be with the beans. But now that we're getting a little closer to the end of the phase, I'm going to go ahead and crank up the temperature some more by turning down the fan once again, which as you can see is already causing the temperature to ramp up quite a bit higher. I expect we won't be long till we get to first crack. So we need just a little bit more temperature in the mix in order to get us right over that hump into first crack. I'm going to go ahead and increase our power by 1 notch rather than decreasing the fan, which I think will overcompensate. There we go, we've got a nice small climb. We should hear first crack any second now. Sure enough, there's the first snap of first crack. Alright, we're getting a couple snaps of first crack, but it's not really kicking into gear like I want it to. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the fan down to help increase the temp and get it rolling. But I'm also going to turn the power down because I don't want to increase it too much and overshoot the crack. Sure enough, as soon as I do that, it really starts to roll, so I feel good about the decision. And there's our first snap of second crack. Alright, I'm not hearing more second crack snaps, but I know they're coming, and I'd like to pull this before second crack really gets started in earnest, right at full medium or full city. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the run cool button. Sure enough, as soon as I hit it, I hear a couple more snaps. I feel good about my choice to stop. So we're going to fast forward through this section, but as you can see, we're just cooling right now. I'll bump up the fan a couple more times just to really get through the cooling phase quickly. But we'll see you again on the other side of the cooling phase. as before, the chaff collector is still quite hot. Be careful with this. A little bit might fall back down. You can see it's really full. We'll make sure to empty that before our next roast. And another beautiful roast with the SR800. So there you have it. Everything you need to know about the extension tube from Fresh Roast. You absolutely need one of these in order to get great, consistent results from your roaster? I don't think so. But they do give you more room, more flexibility with where you can roast, and got more opportunity for experimenting with your profiles, which is always a good thing. So, I hope you learned something. If you did, if you enjoyed that, please leave us a comment and a like down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We got lots of videos planned on everything from more roasting advice to coffee brewing, just fun coffee stuff. And if you missed anything today that you know from your experience that you want to share with folks, please comment down below. Want everyone to be able to just learn new things, try new stuff with their coffee roast. So, that's it for us today. I've been David with the Captain's Coffee. Happy roasting.